Welcome to Hindsight, the podcast, where bold stories and honest reflections meet real growth. I'm Lee Jones, your host, and every week I sit down with incredible people who turn life's turning points into powerful transformations. And if you're navigating change or chasing purpose, then you're in the right place. How you doing,
I'm
brother?
doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing really good. Good to have you on the show.
Glad to be a part of it.
I tell you what, I was looking at one of your videos, and I don't know if you want to talk about this, but I know it's a part of your past, and a good one, I think.
Okay.
But I was looking at an episode from Kicking It, and you and your guy up there,
You went way
you
back.
were writing. It's called Hindsight.
There you
right?
go. That's impressive.
You were inviting the audience, the crowd in there to be. You were doing a video,
Right. Part of our creating a rap video thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty dope. And why I bring it up is because it really took me back too.
Okay.
You know, just the style, the music, the play. I was looking at the clothes the kids were wearing in the audience, and man, that seemed like that would have been fun. I know it's hard work. And people, guys like you and women like you make it look easy. But I guess it'd have been easy for me to be in the audience. How about that?
Yeah, it was definitely rather stressful. It was definitely some hard work, but I'm glad we got a chance to do it. I mean, there were definitely a lot of fun aspects to doing that. And actually, I don't know if you know this now, but so I used to host a radio show, my first radio job, and it was called Rap Down. And the gentleman who's on the show with me, he was my co-host on the radio show. And so every Saturday night in Chicago, it was Rap Down. That was the name of the show. And we were playing popular rap music, blasting it all over Chicago. Yeah. And hosting that show was a lot of fun. And whenever rap artists came to town, they came up on our show, or we hosted we hosted a lot of local concerts, because that was back then. A lot of rap artists were out performing and doing tours. So we were part of those concerts, and there was another guy. I did the rap show on the Saturday night, and there was another guy who did the rap show on Friday night. And then he left, and then it was just me.
Then it was just me, man.
But yeah, those were. I mean, we used to have so much fun in the studio doing the radio show, because rap music was really, I don't know, it was really diversified back then.
Yeah,
you had something for everybody. You had the dance, you had the political conscious rap, you had the braggadocious rap, you had the party rap. I mean, you had the gangsters, some sexuality rap. I mean, you had all of that, and now it's just pretty much 2-dimensional now, in my opinion. That's just me.
I'm not in it as hard as I was back then. I still like rap, but it's particular ones. And usually that's based off of marketing and how they put them out there. You know how it goes. So. Just being a consumer. Hey, but I was at the other thing. I remember just being young and seeing like Run DMC, because I'm from Maryland.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're right there.
And and they were down in Eastover, I think it's called. I can't remember the name of them all. But anyway, there was a music studio over there, and I worked in the Foot Locker.
Okay.
And they just walked, and I was like, man. So that was me back then, like, and you get to work with these individuals. So I was like, he made it. And your last name is Jones, so there you go.
There you go. Yes, I did notice that. Yeah, as a matter of fact, like literally, it's funny. You just mentioned Run DMC. Wait a minute. Just right next to me, within arm's reach, the ultimate Run DMC CD. Just right next to me.
I know that's right.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the old school R&B, old school hip hop, old school all that. I think it was 2 days ago. There's this young lady. She just popped up on my Facebook page. Nobody I know, and I could tell she was probably around 25. And her comment was about. She said, "I don't know why, but for some reason, today's music just seems bad." And she literally said, after I listened to today's R&B music, she said, "I don't feel good." She said, "Sometimes I have an attitude." Wow. And it was so fat. And so I was curious to see what the comments came behind that. And I decided to, you know what, I don't usually post on people's random people I don't even know. So I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I put an explanation of why she was probably experiencing that, and I said,
Yeah.
well, back in the day, R&B was also considered soul music because it
Exactly.
was kind of from the soul to the soul, and it had all
Mhm.
this meaning and emotion and the lyrics and all that, and that doesn't seem to exist now. It's very
Mhm.
homogenized, generic. It's not that creative. I don't even know if
Yeah.
people write about love anymore. I don't even know if that's a
Yeah.
thing. And it's just
Yeah,
so
yeah.
so I don't get it. And so all the comments were, that's why I don't listen to it. That's why I only listen to old school. That was 95% of the
Ugh.
comments.
Yeah, I love old school. Me and my wife, we just started. So anyway, this year we've gone to so far about 6
Okay.
concerts, all old 80s,
Yep.
90s
Yep.
R&B. Jodeci was the last one we went to. Well, New Edition, they go into the 2000s and all
Right.
that. New Edition. We even saw Diana
Oh
Ross.
wow.
She did an amazing, amazing performance as well. Um, what was the other ones? 112, Monica.
Hmm.
Um, God, I got the little tickets there because I was going to do a little TikTok video if
Okay.
it's still there. I don't even know. TikTok is still
It's still
there,
there for now.
but
Yeah, it's still there.
do a TikTok video. But anyway, the bottom line is just when you hear the songs, what I loved about those was the music was good, and I don't know if it's just because I was back in the day in my room, kept rewinding the cassette tapes. You know what I'm saying, just to get the words just right. But you can just sing all of those songs right along with them in the concert. Um, and truth be told, it was a New Edition one, and I was singing loud and I was recording,
Okay.
and then I listened back to it and I said, "Oh, this is why they say keep your day job." Like, I sounded
But you thought
horrible,
you were
but
doing
man,
some harmonizing. I'm sure
oh,
you.
I thought I should have been up on the stage with them,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
no, but it's just the emotion that it brings to you. That feeling, it almost transports you back. You
My
know.
wife and I have a thing where, so I am a huge Prince fan. I
Mm,
have stuff that, you know, wasn't even commercially sold. Like I have a lot of Prince stuff. And so
yeah.
I was so heartbroken when I missed his last
Mm,
performance because his last big performance was in
mm-hmm,
Atlanta where I live. And it
mm,
was he briefly did what basically an acoustic tour where it was just Prince and a
yeah.
piano. And right after that performance, I think he did I missed it because I usually don't miss Prince. I thought tickets went on
Mm,
sale the next day. And I
they were
found out
sold
the
out.
day before. I was like, they're going to sell now? And they had been on sale for
Yeah.
like 3, 4 hours. And I tried to call and it was too late and they were sold out. And then who
Yeah.
knew that, like, I think he went back to Minneapolis and did a small concert there and then he died. Then he was gone. And so from that
Yeah.
moment on, I told my wife and I was like, we're not missing any more legends because you don't know
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
how much longer they're going to be around. And so I know
Yeah.
we saw Janet, we saw Elton John. Um,
We saw Janet. We saw Janet too because we missed her one because I'm in California.
okay.
So she came and I wanted to get the tickets and I kept waiting and waiting and waiting, whatever, right? And then they were gone. And so the following year, I was like, "Oh my God, Janet's back!" So I just went and
That's
bought
a
the
fun
tickets right
concert.
away.
It's a big
Yeah.
it's a big
Oh,
sing along, dance along.
Frank, I tell you what, when she came on there, she does her thing and she was like, I can do this all night long. And she was, playing with, I can sing and do this
Right.
concert all night long and then the sexuality of it as well, right? Frank, we got up. I thought she was done. We was walking out the
And she
thing.
wasn't done.
My wife went to the bathroom. She's still out there singing.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God, it was such an
That
amazing
see
concert.
that's
Yeah.
I know, I mean, hopefully nobody who's listening to us who's part of the Beehive, but I just don't get that same feeling about Beyonce or Rihanna or
Yeah.
Taylor Swift. I'm not saying they're not bad I'm not saying they're not talented, but they just don't
Yeah.
invoke that same type of good time feeling. They just don't.
Yeah.
It's just not the
Yeah.
same.
To be fair, I've never gone to a
You,
Beyonce concert.
i-
Go
if
ahead.
I was to be honest, this is gonna sound bad. If you gave me Beyonce tickets, I would sell them.
Wow. Wow. Well, you make a good
I
profit.
I, I know I would.
And
I know I would. That's why I would sell.
it's not
Because
it's all
because
profit.
I
Yeah.
don't think I would enjoy her concert. Because I mean, if I went to my
Yeah.
music library, I probably have maybe 2 or 3 songs downloaded from her. That's it. So
Yeah.
why would I go? I have a whole folder for Janet. I mean, it's just
I don't think I would either, but who was like Destiny's Child? I love their music as
I,
a
that would
group.
have been fun to go to. Yeah.
And I'm not going to say I wouldn't love Beyonce's. I hear what you're saying. Like I listened to some of the Destiny Child stuff, so there'd be songs where I could get down to. You know, some artists, Prince did it too, and I know you love Prince, so I'm gonna jump on him really quick. He did it too when he changed his name,
I did some.
and I know he did it.
He
I know
had
he did it
reasons. Yeah.
for yeah, he had his reasons. And I understand that, but the music, I couldn't get down with it. And you know, as far as the songs, now the music, I'm sorry, I should say the songs. The music I love
Right.
because he was a genius with that. But I thought he went a different way, and he wanted to be creative, and I get it. He is a creative type, was a creative type. But I loved Prince.
Yeah.
It was just that period, and I think it was almost a rebellious time for him.
Yeah.
You know, I guess he was tired of the industry, tired of management and all of that, and he just went his own
Yeah.
way and
He
did
he
his
definitely went
thing.
through a period where I was not as big a consumer of his songs,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
basically I would always end up finding an album cut or two that it's not
yeah,
commercially known, but I'm like, ooh, that's a good song. And so those are the songs
yeah,
that I would be collecting during that phase where he wasn't, when he wasn't nearly as commercial as,
yeah.
the sound wasn't as traditional. But
Mm,
yeah, it's and my other, just on the side note, my other favorite artist, I will not miss her whenever she's on tour.
mm.
Sade.
I've not seen
Oh my
Sade.
God.
I love Sade since back in the day.
You know what?
I've never known her. I've never seen. I need to just
Lee, I'm gonna be honest with
go
you.
ahead.
If this is probably one of the most honest things I'm gonna tell you right now during this entire time together. I promise you, if you go to a Sade concert, it will be
Yeah.
unlike any concert you've ever attended.
Mm,
I've seen her 3 times. The last time I
yeah.
saw her, I think John Legend opened up for her, and I remember
Mm,
it was like a spiritual experience at her concert, and I mean, it's like her music and the audience became like one. That's why I said
yeah.
it felt so spiritual. It was, and the diversity of the audience. She had
Of
every
course.
race in there. She had
Yeah.
teenage preteens. She had people that were like look like they were 70 years old. I mean,
Yeah.
it was straight. It was gay. It was everybody, and everybody knew her
Wow.
songs. And the
Oh,
background and the video screen and the mood that they set on stage, there's a mood and a vibe. And she
yeah.
starts talking with the British accent. She kicks off her shoes, and oh, it's just I'm getting chills talking about her last concert. Like she's
Wow.
probably the only art.
When was it?
The last time this was, actually, I was seeing if I had. Of course, I have everything within arm's reach.
I
Um,
love it.
so this was the last tour,
Okay.
and it looks like
2011.
that was it. Yep, 2011.
Ah,
2011.
I missed her.
Yeah. There's
I
no way
missed
I
her.
was gonna leave without getting this. There's no way. I
Yeah.
have
Yeah. Yeah.
another one from another concert. I missed somehow. I went to a concert and didn't get a program. I don't know what that was about, but so I'm missing one. But yeah, like that. No,
Uh,
that's yeah.
I remember driving across the country because I was in the military and I had duty station
Okay.
over here
Thank
in
you for your service.
California.
What
Thank you. I
branch were you?
appreciate it. I was in the
Okay.
army, but I remember like my wife was like, "How can you listen to Sade when we're driving so long. And it was easy because it gets you in a spot. It doesn't make you sleepy. It just, when you say it, that connection, like that's just through the radio or through a CD,
Right.
that's in a car at the time. I could not imagine being in that
I
audience.
I have seen many artists in concert. I mean, when I worked in radio, I mean,
Yeah.
I got a lot of free concert tickets. Like, there are tons of people who I've seen. I've seen Michael. I've seen
I
Luther
miss
several
Michael.
times. I've seen Anita. I just told you I've seen Elton John. I've seen Sting twice. I've seen Hall and Oates. Like, I mean, all types of modern and current. I've
Wow.
seen so many people. There is
Yeah.
no concert. I'm not saying it's the best concert ever, but there is no concert that has the mood, the vibe, and the energy of that
Yeah.
last Sade concert. None, none. Michael Jackson's concert
Wow.
was amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. It was almost magical. Like, wow, he just disappeared on one side of the
Yeah.
stage, he just appeared on the other side. Like, it was amazing. I think it was the Bad tour. It was, and it was,
Yeah.
and I remember leaving that concert saying, I'm not a big Michael Jackson fan, but that was the best concert I had ever seen to that moment.
Wow.
But Sade's concert was just, it felt like it was mystical. Like, are you putting a spell on us? Like, what are you doing? Like, is, is there something being released from the vents? Like, what is going on?
Yeah. That is so
And
dope.
her band,
Wow.
the music that they
Mm.
play is just like, her and her band
Yeah.
fit like a hand in a glove.
Right.
Like, her
Right.
voice and
Right.
the style that they play, it's just amazing. Yeah, so please don't miss her if she comes. I'm always got my ears open for Sade news. She was supposedly
Yeah.
going back into the studio, which usually meant
Mm.
a concert, but that
Yeah.
came out right before the pandemic hit when she was going to the
Mm.
studio. So I'm sure all that got shut
Yeah.
down and they were not going back in the
Yeah.
studio anymore. And I haven't heard anything since. I know she did a song for a soundtrack, because
Hmm.
she was somehow dedicated to her son, because I think her son is gay or something, or
Okay.
transgender. I think her son, she has a transgender son. That's what it is. And
Okay.
so she did
Okay.
some song. I think it was kind of dedicated to him or something. And
Yeah.
but I don't know if she's big, because she's such a recluse. She puts an album out,
I
goes on
know.
tour, and
And she gone.
she's like the cicadas.
She's
She
gone.
gone for another 9, 10 years. You don't see her in an interview. You nothing. Nothing. So I'm assuming this may be her last one when she. I was mad. My wife and I, we missed Stevie because I told you we try to see the classics. He did
Yeah.
a brief tour about
Mm.
4 months ago. He just hit a couple of cities.
Really?
It was like it came up out of nowhere. I think he was trying to raise
Yeah.
funds for something.
Yeah.
And a week, I bought
Wow.
tickets, but we couldn't go because my wife had to go to a funeral in Chicago, and so I ended up giving
Mm.
giving the tickets away. And
Yeah.
that might be the
Okay.
last time to
That's
see him.
yeah. Yeah. Well, somebody was happy. At least at least you were able to give them
Yeah,
away.
we gave
And
one
and
of my wife's friends. He
yeah.
was very ecstatic. Yeah,
Yeah. Hell
yeah.
yeah. I
So I'm
like it.
like, man.
When you look back in hindsight, everything is 2020. In hindsight, we make mistakes, we're learning from it. In hindsight, shaping yesterday and your tomorrow. In hindsight, is so much clearer now.
All right, all right. Hey, this is truly hindsight.
Okay,
We mixing yesterday with
there you go.
today with the music. Hey, but let me tell you about F. Francis Jones. You're a licensed marriage and family therapist with over 2 decades of experience guiding individuals, couples, and families through healing and personal transformation. From the radio waves in Chicago to therapy sessions in Georgia, his journey is a powerful testament to purpose, reinvention, and resilience. And today we explore how mental illness can be a gateway to growth and how healing often begins with truly being seen. And thank you so much, one, for taking me
No
back
problem.
or for engaging with me, right? And looking at the past and bringing it forward, right, with the
Uh huh.
music. And definitely that's a therapeutic strategy right there in itself.
Definitely.
But You've had a fascinating journey from media to mental
Mhm.
health. Like, what led you from the spotlight of entertainment to the deeply personal work of therapy?
Okay. First of all, let me say thank you, Lee, for allowing me to be on your show and on your program, Hindsight the podcast. Okay, so let's talk about what led me on my journey. Okay, so I was in radio for several years. Uh, Worked in a lot of well, I'm primarily at one station, the top radio station in Chicago at the time. And while I was there, I worked in marketing, promotions, production, but I also ended up becoming an on-air disc jockey. So that was that. I did that for
Mm-hmm.
probably 8, 9 years, and then I decided to try my hand at television. Well, actually, I moved. I went to LA to visit some friends,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I was only supposed to be there one week. And my friends were like, "You should just move here." And I thought about it, and I said, "Okay." And so I moved to LA. And
Can I tell you something
sure,
funny? Different
okay,
scenarios. Like I said, I was in the military,
okay,
and I was stationed in Pennsylvania at the
hmm,
time in the Army, and I got orders to go to Southern California to a Marine
okay,
base. And initially, like you, I'll say, what's the worst that could happen? I'm going to SoCal.
right,
I'm going to Southern
right.
California, right? So I went, and anyway, the rest is history. Had a great time, retired from the Marine base, and here I am
Here
talking
you
to
are.
you.
And you know what's interesting? Before I moved to LA, my last
Yeah,
radio job, I was hosting a morning program, I had a morning team on the island of Guam.
I saw that.
And
I
I was
saw
there
that.
for like 11 months, amazing
Yeah.
time. And then when I moved back to Chicago, Chicago no longer mentally stimulated me anymore. You know, sometimes when you expose
Wow.
yourself to other parts of the world, your brain
Mm-hmm.
gets like stretched or expanded. And once
Yep.
it gets expanded, it can't go back. And so the city that I always loved and never thought I would leave, it didn't do it for me anymore. And when I went to visit
Mm.
my friends in LA and they said you should move here, I was like, okay, because you know that area is so diverse, it is mentally stimulating in Southern California.
It is.
And so when
It
I went to
is.
visit, I was like, okay, the one week turned into two. And then I went back to Chicago and got my stuff and moved there. And at that point, I started moving toward television, like behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
That was my intention. And I finally got a job. I think my first job was actually Keenan Ivory Wayans used to have a nighttime talk show that only lasted one season. And I
Mm-hmm.
got on his show, and then that just led to other shows, including I worked on Family Feud. I worked on Divorce Court, and
Mm-hmm.
it's Divorce Court that actually put me on the path to being a therapist. So how that happens? So here I am. I'm what's called an associate producer on the program. My job is to help find couples to appear on the program. It was a very
Mm-hmm.
challenging job, and to be quite frank with you, I didn't like it because there was a lot of
Yeah.
pressure
Yeah.
trying to get people to be on the show. Another tape date is coming up. We need more couples. We're working late. We're
Yeah.
coming in weekends, and it was just very stressful. And one day, a woman who I've been talking to for a little while, trying to get her backstory to see if she could be a guest on the program, she said, "You know
Mm-hmm.
what? Even though you won't, I probably won't be selected to be on your program." And for some, I forgot why she wouldn't have been selected based upon our interview. She said, "I'm very thankful that you just listened to me. I'm very
Hmm.
appreciative just having you to listen because I really haven't had anybody to talk to about what I'm going through, you know, in her difficult, dysfunctional marriage." And
Mm-hmm.
that became my new motivation for going to work. I was like, maybe
Yeah.
I'll be a blessing just listening to somebody. Like I said, I didn't like the job, but I shifted my
Yeah.
focus. And
Yeah.
then when that happened, soon afterwards, this was the year that we were attacked. This was 9/11.
Mm.
And once that happened, the production shut down, of course, because remember planes weren't
Right.
flying, and even
Right.
when they were
Yeah.
flying again, we couldn't get people on planes. So the whole production just shut down for a while. They still paid us, and
Yeah.
at that point, I realized, you know what? I'm getting something out of being there for others. Why don't I just go to grad school and become a therapist? And I told all my friends that I was going to do that, and they were like, duh. Because I've always been the type of person, even since high school, that people always brought their problems to. So no one was shocked that I was deciding to be a therapist. And then right then, literally, when that show shut down, that next semester, January, I was enrolled in a master's program for psychology to become a therapist. And that's so literally Divorce Court, the last television show I worked on, was the crowbar that pushed me into the field.
I like that answer. A lot of times when I ask questions like that, wait, what led you to? It's kind of difficult to pinpoint exactly what it was. So just hearing you say that, and something else that sparked me, that you're the person who would get these couples on the show. How did you get these couples on the show? I mean, was it an influx of, people sending in clips? I don't know how it worked back then, but
I'll give you some insider.
Because it's on now.
Right, it's on now, and I don't even think they tape it in. Just like Family Feud, I think Family Feud is in Georgia now. I don't even know if Divorce Court is still on the air, but so basically,
it is.
Okay.
It is.
So basically, what would happen when I worked on a program? We had like a not an answering service, but you would leave a recorded message. Hi, I'm Susan Smith, and I'm interested in coming on your on Divorce Court, and here's my number. And then the associate producers and the producers, like you were teamed up, like associate producer, you were teamed up, and you would get these names and numbers, and you would call them, and you say, hey, I understand you're interested in possibly appearing on the program. And so from that moment on, you had to start interviewing them and hearing their story, what type of issues they've had, to see if it's even something that fits. Because there's certain people, based upon what they would tell you, you'd be like, no, that's not going to work. Like if they say something like, I haven't even, like if it's a woman, I haven't even talked to them in 3-4 years. That's probably not going to work.
Oh, yeah.
Or we have a lot of domestic violence in that's not going to work. I would even, ironically, being a therapist, I would have to ask them about their mental health. Like have they received particular or certain types of diagnoses? For example, do you have a personality disorder? Do you take any psychotropic medications? Like we would have to ask those questions. I would even have to, you may laugh, we would also have to ask if you have any significantly discolored, chipped, or broken teeth. Because then I would have a little chart.
Oh, that's right, because it's
television.
A voice. It's a voice.
And if their teeth were really, if it wasn't too bad, I would then send the information to one of our 2 dentists that we had access to, and they would determine if they could provide maybe a temporary partial or filling for them to be on our show. But if they had if they had too much dental work, they'd be like, nope, we can't afford to bring them on there because their dental work will cost too much. Okay, so that's the first half. So now we got this one story, and let's say I can use them. Now, do you happen to have the number of your spouse? So now I have to call the spouse and say, hey, your wife or husband reached out to us and expressed an interest on possibly appearing on Divorce Court. Would you also be interested in appearing? And they would be like, well, what's in it for me? I'd be like, well, we'll cover flying you out, put you up in a hotel. We'll even, I think, did we give you a stipend? I know we gave people, I want to say $500. And so we would explain this to try to entice them to agree. And then if they then agreed, then we start working on the arrangements. But oftentimes, the other person you call says, heck no, I'm not going on national television to air my dirty laundry.
That's what I figured.
I got cursed out a few times. Yeah, because that's, so then there you have it. So now you just spent an hour and 15 minutes talking to the first half, the individual. And now this other person's like, no. So it's done. It's a wrap. And so that's how we book the show.
All right, I'm gonna ask you something, and you can answer it or you do not have to answer it. Just by the way you've explained this, I believe I know the answer. Was any of this stuff like like you ran out of good people or good stories or good situations to have on the show, and you kind of created narratives, you know, on these
So,
shows for these people? I'm just
so
curious.
two things happened. One, some of the pressure we felt included trying to book a certain type of couple. They
Right,
wanted more, I'm not going to say upscale, but they wanted couples who had a certain look, who could speak well, who were articulate, who looked
right.
professional. But sometimes those type of individuals didn't want to be on our show. And so you have that, and that became an issue. And then two,
Yeah.
they wanted us to make sure that the guests on the show were passionate about their opinions.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
wanted us to make sure you encourage them to speak up and speak for yourself, and trying to.
Okay, so that's what you do.
I,
Okay.
to be quite
Well,
honest with you,
not.
I didn't do that. Like, they were telling me, go in there and get them ready, and I would go in their green room or in their dressing room and say, you know what, just speak your truth. That was my
Yeah.
pep talk. Speak your truth. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not a
Yeah.
cheerleader. I'm not trying to. This is no. I don't really like this job anyway. But just speak your
Yeah.
truth, and we'll be fine. It'll work out. And that
Yeah.
that that was that was that was my involvement with the show. But yet it's. I mean, every just like every person has their own story. Every couple has
Yeah.
their own story too. So it wasn't like they were worried about ever running out of good stories that could be entertaining for the masses, because everybody's got a different type of
Yeah.
story. So I don't ever really. It was just a matter of, the only pressure was trying to get a certain type of couple on the show.
Yeah. Yeah. I just look at some of the couples, man, and they're super animated. Some are jokesters and but saying serious stuff, and you just wonder, oh, is this for real? But I mean, to your point, some people are just naturally
Yeah.
jokesters, or some people are naturally animated,
Yes.
in their approach to answering questions. So I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
No
Thank
problem.
you. You've helped me. Yeah. Hey, look, you've helped clients navigate everything from childhood trauma to toxic
Yep.
relationship
Yep.
dynamics. And in your experience, like, what's the first crucial step in any healing journey?
In my opinion, the first step to healing has to start with awareness.
Mm,
You have to know there's an issue, a problem, a challenge that needs to be dealt with. It's even like if
yeah.
an alcoholic, if they go to AA, one of the first things is them admitting or acknowledging they have a problem and they need assistance. If people
Hmm.
can't admit that they need to work on this, then the situation is not going to change. So,
Yeah.
and to me, usually when a person comes to therapy, they're at that point where they know,
Well, they're
I need
ready.
to try to get some
Yeah.
help. Now, that's not necessarily same for couples, because often with the couple, one person
Hmm.
is not as gun ho to be there as the other. Typically, one person is there because they felt pressure to be there. Maybe they got an ultimatum. Um,
Hmm.
some couples come. One person may come because they just check in a box. We even tried couples therapy, and that didn't work. It's just
Right.
they're not really coming to do
Right.
the work. But
Yeah.
it's got to start with awareness that you have something you need to address or work on. That's the first step.
Yeah. Do you have any healing? Like, do you have any not examples, but do you have any people who you believe have actually been healed?
I would say I have quite a few. I've worked with. I mean, I've been doing this for like 20
Awesome.
years. There are a lot of people
Yeah.
who have talked about how much uh, they've changed, they're grown, or they've
Yeah.
healed. One of my favorite things, I like it when they say, "Man, I feel better, and I don't think the way I used
Mm.
to think." And sometimes I'll even remind them what they were like when they first started coming. Do you remember when you first started? You were like this, and that.
Yeah.
And they go, "Yeah, I'm so
Yeah.
glad I can," because I want them to see their progress.
Mm.
And so that's really great. But what I like even more than them seeing their own progress, I love it when they come to me and during a session they say that the people around them see the positive growth and change that has occurred.
Mm.
when other people are around, yeah, they're coming to tell, they can see how much my mood is better, or I'm more confident, or, I'm not stressing out the way I used to. I love it when other people around them can see it. So definitely. And it's really about how much effort the client wants to put into it. It's sort of like a personal trainer. Like if you go to a personal trainer, you're going to work out the gym. It's not up to the personal trainer to be grinding and sweating. But if you're willing to do the work, you're going to see the results. And the more work you put in, the greater the results you'll see. It's the same way with mental health as well. So the clients who put in the most work definitely see the greatest movement and accomplishments.
That's awesome. And I know that brings you joy. That's part of your purpose anyway. But, just when you see it, because a lot of times you look in the mirror and you look at yourself, you can metaphorically or actually, you look in the mirror, you see yourself, and you don't always see that change. So to get that validation or to get that comments from other people who actually see it is always everything.
Yeah, definitely.
And then for them to tell you, that's also cool. I was walking around, I had this shirt on. It was like patience still loading. Right. Patience still loading. Right. And I wore this yesterday, and everyone, well, I'm not going to say everyone, but 3 people, and I was just went to Walmart and to the dog store and to someplace else. 3 people was like, I love that shirt. And what that meant for me personally, because I didn't go out trying to touch people or anything. Right. I just wore the shirt. What it meant for me is we are in some crazy times now, in this country. And we're always in crazy time, but we really hit another line, right?
We raised the bar. Yeah.
Yeah, we raised the bar. And people acknowledging it. And I always wonder, is this something that they needed at that moment? Because when they said it, they smiled, I really like that shirt and smiled. And I always think about random acts of kindness when you do things, just giving someone a smile, doing these different things. And it's part of that, people say divine plan, or it's part of us just as humans being really connected. Like those things hit people at the right time sometimes.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Know exactly what you mean. I think when it comes to our purpose here on this planet in this time, I've always felt our purpose is to use our talent, our personal interests, and even our time to serve one another. And there's so many different ways to serve. Sometimes it's doing a grand gesture. Sometimes it's giving somebody a smile, a reason to smile. Sometimes it's wearing a T-shirt that makes somebody reflect and think, or makes them feel good. Like we're still serving, and when we're serving, we're connecting.
Yeah. We're getting a lot of connections being severed. And I just wish, man, we could just plug back into each other.
I have I don't know if you checked out my website, but in addition to information about me in the book, I have merchandise and hoodies, T-shirts, coffee mugs, and it's messages on those items that are represented in the book. And one of my favorite slogans that's on the T-shirt or that's on the mug, it says, "Ego divides, spirit unites." And to me, I look at around our world, and it's just all this ego, me, mine. I got to get, it's what I want, and my guy is right, and my religion is the one, and my political party is the one, and everybody feels like that's it, and that just continues to divide us. But if we could live in spirit, we could then focus. I mean, when we live in ego, it's about ourselves. When we live in spirit, it's about others. I feel like we're kind of out of balance with that.
I know we are.
Yeah.
I'm looking to the side because my dog is spinning. You know how they spin around before they lay down? Right. He's spinning around, and he's underneath the desk over there, which is where all the
plugs are.
And stuff are. I'm just making sure you don't knock anything out.
That's funny. Ironically, I usually, when I'm doing a virtual session or an interview, I usually don't have my dog in the room. He just happens to be
Mm-hmm.
in the room, but he's lying right at my feet, so he's not near any cords, so that's good. I just have to keep looking down to make sure I don't kick him in his nose.
I know. So he's definitely over there. Yeah, I'm talking about you. All right. Hey, so you mentioned a little bit, but your book, Heal and
Hmm.
Grow, talks about emotional wounds as opportunities for growth.
Yes.
What does it truly mean to grow through what you go through?
Well, it means that you, because of this experience, you either are better for it or perhaps stronger for it, or
Mm-hmm.
at the very least, you learn something from it.
Mm.
That's when I talk about growing through our challenges or our issues. And no one goes to the gym and says, I'm gonna get stronger, but I'm gonna do that by lifting lighter weights. I'm just gonna work out with these one
Yeah.
pound weights. You're not gonna get, it's just, I mean, maybe if you're gonna do 1 pound weights 1,000 times, or just gonna hold,
You trying to get
I'm
ripped?
just gonna hold this out for the next 30 minutes. I mean, yeah, then it'll work. Yeah, but generally speaking, the heavier the weight, the greater the
Yeah.
challenge. I teach at a community college, just basic psychology. And I often
Yeah.
tell my students, we need the challenges to grow. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I mean, a caterpillar goes into a cocoon and I guess this little chrysalis or whatever. And while it's in there, it's growing its wings. And
Yeah.
and its wings are pushing on the inside of the cocoon, and when its wings are strong enough, it bursts out, and
Yeah.
it needed that struggle to help the wings be strong
About
enough.
to say, yeah, yep, that's
Or
trauma. I like
yeah,
that.
I've even heard that, like, if a baby chick is in an egg, if you help the chick out of the egg, if it's premature,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably going to die. It's probably not going to be able to walk, and it may even be deformed because you helped it
Mm-hmm.
out prematurely.
Mm-hmm.
And because it needed, when it was pecking its way out from the inside, it was building up its muscles, its neck muscles, its beak, the legs. It was getting stronger, and it was
Right.
necessary. And so that's, for some reason, I tell my students, your life, who said life was supposed to be a smoothly paved road?
Mm.
No one said that. Speaking of passing on information, I remember when I was in high school. So I loved football. Like, that was my life. If you'd have told me I wasn't going to play pro football, I would have said you're crazy. But
Mm.
I ended up tearing on my knee very badly, and I couldn't play my
Mm.
senior year. And there my friends are, people I know. I go to the first game. I'm sitting in the stands. They're
Mm-hmm.
crushing the opponent. I mean, crushing, and they're on the sidelines laughing and having a good time. And I'm sitting in the stands with one of my friends, and I was like, Kevin, this isn't fair. I'm supposed to be down there with them.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it was my dream to play football. I mean, since I was like 11 or 12. I mean, I used to work out and do drills on my own, and I just was so into it. And when I told him this isn't fair, I'm supposed to be down there,
Mm-hmm.
he calmly turned to me and he said, Frank, who told you life was supposed to be fair?
Mm.
I sat there
Mm.
dumbfounded. I had no response. And I
Yeah.
always remember that.
Who who was that
This was
that to
just a
you? Just a
friend.
friend of
He was
yours?
just sitting in the bleachers with me. He was just,
To have
I'm like, how did he, this is like some 17-year-old, like, where'd he get that from? He
wisdom.
just he
Wisdom.
just
Yeah.
said it. He probably don't even know. I don't even know where he's at right now. He probably don't even know
Yeah.
he said it. But let
Yeah.
alone how much it's impacted me through the, like, I've carried that with the rest of my life. Like, I've always been like,
Mm.
the rain falls on the just and the unjust.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it is. Sometimes things don't go the way we wanted them to. That's called life.
Yeah. I had a therapist. Well, it was a therapist, but she was a guest on the
Okay.
show as well, and she mentioned the same thing. And from her perspective, I forgot how she said it, but she was like, if I'm going to go through something bad, you best believe I'm going to get
Something out
something
of it.
out of it.
Yes. Yes.
You know, I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna learn something from this incident. So, or from this
Right.
scenario, whatever it is, because it doesn't have to be
No, it
horrible,
doesn't have
right?
to be.
I used I used to take that for me. Thank the Lord. I went to Iraq and I came back fine.
Mm-hmm.
Right. A lot of people, didn't.
Right.
So that's why I'm always understanding that I was blessed to get there and come back. But what I did do, though I didn't get shot or anything horrible like that, you still are exposed to an environment that's not normal to you, right?
It's not normal for human beings.
Right. So just understanding that, like, whenever I would go, even when it's calm, like I would tell my guys, hey, look, learn from the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Broaden yourself. Don't bring all of your, back at home from Chicago or wherever stuff here. Immerse yourself here while you're here, because this is going to help you grow later.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting different perspectives, right? And just because, we were going different places, and I believe the first few places I took that mentality of what I know is reality.
Right.
What I know to this point is reality. And I closed off some of those lessons in these other places.
Mm-hmm.
But if you open yourself up, I mean, there's some good, there's some bad, but there are lessons, and you're going to need everything you got in your toolbox, as you go through life.
I think about the girls I've dated, like from high school on.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, all the relationships I was in, all the way until marriage, the other person was the one that decided to end it. So I would end up being heartbroken. I mean, there was one relationship where we were like, okay, let's mutually agree this isn't working. But even though I might have been heartbroken, it was like maybe 3 major relationships. And even though I might have been heartbroken, when I reflect and think back, I don't regret a single one of those relationships. Those were wonderful young ladies. And I learned a lot about relationships. I learned about myself in relationships. And I feel like each one prepared me to ultimately be with my wife, the woman I'm with now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in a way, I mean, so sometimes life is preparing us for things that aren't here yet, or things that we can't see yet.
Yeah, it does. It does all the time.
Yeah,
actually.
exactly. And so sometimes instead of pushing back, just embrace it. I mean, if you get out on the street, you can only see so far up the street. That's it. We have very limited vision, especially for the future.
I like that.
I mean, how far can you see? Maybe 3 blocks up the street, 4?
Dude, now at this age, I can't see. I can barely see the screen in front of me.
Yeah. So sometimes what looks like, we're in a hot mess really may not be. We just need to give it some time and go further down the road and really see, oh, I was being prepared for something.
Yeah, man, that's a great lesson. That's a great lesson. Anyway, I don't know if I want to spin off into that, but but it's a great lesson, because a lot of times you're and you should. This is why you need a lot of tools in your toolbox. Yes. But you're basing your response to certain things on historical information that you've gathered up to that point.
Up to that point, yes.
You know what I mean? And that's how you.
And it's so much more that you don't know. I have something I tell my wife all the time. I tell my students. I tell my clients. I always say this: there is always more about a situation and even a person that we don't know than that which we do know. Across the board, there's always more that we don't know. Period. About everything. Whatever you name, whatever you can go space, the underwater, our bodies, a common code. There's just so much stuff that we just don't know. We don't like admitting we don't know stuff because we like to think we know everything about something. But there's nothing we know everything about. Nothing.
Yeah. Nothing. I like it. All right. Period. So we summed that one up. Hey, all right. Hey, really quick. So, many people avoid therapy.
Yes.
Just because of the stigma or the fear or whatever they might find out. I don't necessarily know. But what do you say to someone who thinks healing means weakness or failure? And this can almost go to like my experience and my time in the military, because we're always, fearless and go and this and that. And in anything, I'm sleepy, I'm thirsty, I'm hungry is always considered weakness.
Yes.
You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? So from a mental standpoint, when someone, believes the stigma, like what is something that you would say to encourage them to seek out that
Well, there's a
assistance?
couple of things I want to say about that. First of all, you never really know until you try. Give it a shot. You can take a medication. You really don't know if it's going to work. Just because the doctor
That's
said,
true.
just because the doctor wrote a
That's true.
script, you may have an adverse reaction to it. And so sometimes I think it's important to be open-minded to considering other things to help you deal with your situation. I mean, in the past, and especially in our community, going to see a therapist meant you were crazy. Like,
Yeah.
and if anything, you take it to the Lord. You go to church. You take it to your pastor, your minister, your priest. You don't. No, you don't need to go talk to somebody. You're not. That's not. And so that wasn't something that was done. Now, thankfully, over the years, more and more people, the stigma of going to therapy has lessened. And that's probably due to a lot of celebrities, athletes, people actually saying, well, I go to therapy, or my therapist told me. And that's making people go, oh, he goes. Maybe I can consider. Now, here's the other piece, too. When it comes to the stigma or reluctance to go to therapy, viewing it as a sign of weakness, in many ways, that's mostly associated with men.
Yeah, I believe
And
that.
that's why I have a
Yeah.
whole chapter on men and therapy in my book, because men are under this pressure. Many, not all men, of course, but a lot of men are under this pressure to be a man, and what that means to themselves, what that means to society. And anything that looks like weakness is frowned upon. So a man crying in public is looked at as being weakness. A man going to see a therapist, what's wrong with him? He can't figure out on his own. And so therefore you have men, especially men of color, I don't need that. I'm good. I'll figure it out. Because they don't want to own that there may be some issues there. Because we're always trying to fit this little image in our head of what we think and what society thinks a man is supposed to look like.
Right.
And it creates a problem, because to be honest with you, I think if more men were willing to go and look inside and see where they need healing, see where there's room for growth, if more men consider therapy and actually put in the work, we could probably change our society overnight.
I believe that.
But
I know that. I know it. Because of the norms.
Yep.
Men are supposed to be strong,
I mean,
fearless.
What are the messages?
No weaknesses.
What are the messages we get starting at being a little boy? If you fall down and you hurt yourself, the message is don't cry. Big boys don't cry. We get a little bit older, we become a teenager. It's like, man up, suck it up. Don't be a punk. Don't be another P word. We get those messages our whole life as a male.
Yeah. Sometimes, it makes sense though.
Sometimes it does.
But to your point, of the times when you really need that help, you're not open to go. And
that's
look
the whole thing. It's
that's the problem.
I believe in I'm kind of old school. I like the idea of being tough or pushing through and being resilient, being strong. I love that idea, but I also like, if you need help, go get it. Most people who've achieved greatness, they had help along the way. I don't care what their field of endeavor was.
That's another point that people miss. I talked about it earlier, how you guys made things look, the TV show look easy, right? A lot of the people that you look at and you admire, they've achieved great things and success in whatever field or whatever, thing. But it's hard, right? And they have their struggles, they have these things, but you don't see that side of it. You only see the victory.
And you don't see
the challenges.
And you don't see who's consulting them. You don't see none of that. You don't see who's mentoring them. You don't see who's giving them valuable feedback and information. You don't see who's talking to them when they felt down and was questioning themselves or their goal. You don't see any of that.
You see the victory.
You see, I mean, like for example, somebody like Kobe Bryant, we are now increasingly aware of his work ethic. But when he was playing, we didn't know.
Yeah.
When we think about even Michael Jordan, like these people who had personal trainers, like aside from the coaching staff, they had like their own spending extra money for their own person to take care of their bodies or their diets or whatever.
Yeah.
They were seeking, they got assistance from other people to help them be the best version of themselves that they possibly could.
That's a great ass example. That really is a good example.
Yep. And I mean,
that's a great
and
example.
Especially in a world where a lot of young boys or young men don't even have a father there who could help do those things or play that role.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Hey, tell me a little bit about your book.
Well, Heal and Grow: Lessons Learned on My Journey as a Mental Health Professional. It goes by my author name, F. Francis Jones. And basically, it's a book where I get to share the things that I've learned from being a mental health professional. It's set up in a way where each chapter kind of stands alone. And like the chapter titles include lessons learned about couples therapy, lessons learned about anxiety and depression, lessons learned about non-romantic relationships, lessons learned about men in therapy, as I mentioned earlier, lessons learned about children and adolescents, lessons learned about self-care, and then the last 4 chapters, challenges in treatment, concerns about our community and the world, hopes for the future, and then my final thoughts. And it was just a book. One day I just got inspired. Something said, you should write. Like, I've always thought it'd be cool to write a book, but I never knew what to write about, fiction, nonfiction.
Yeah.
And one day right before the pandemic, something said, you should write a book about what you've learned being a therapist. And like, it was just that clear. It was like a voice, and weave throughout the book and the chapters. I have a lot of personal stuff in there, personal stories, personal experiences that tie in with each of the chapters.
Wow.
So
when did your book come out?
Last year, 2024.
All right, so I'm a personal reason why I asked. We're on track. I felt the same way, not the therapy part. I had those similar thoughts. Do I write a fiction book? Because I like science fiction.
I love science fiction.
I've written a lot of short stories, won some contests there, but never really. I'm kind of impatient, so that patient thing was for me. But a lot of people got it as well, and it's difficult it was for me to write a book to the end. Like I have this concept, I have this idea, I start writing, I'm good, and then the end seems so far away, and then I've given up. But with that being said, I did end up writing a book. It's actually getting some stuff done up to it now. I haven't done the cover yet, so hopefully it'll be out in a little bit.
Congratulations.
But how was that experience? You had a thought, you heard a voice to say do it. Once you sat down to do it, how challenging was it for you to get through it?
Well, it's interesting. Once that thought just was ringing in my head and wouldn't go away, all these ideas started pouring out about things I wanted to say. And so
how did you keep I'm trying to get me some therapy.
Okay, no problem.
How do you, because I get all the thoughts and things like that, right? How do you keep those thoughts? Like, how do you organize those thoughts? Because as quickly as I get them, they may go.
Let me just tell you right now, Lee. That happened so many times. But here's what I started doing. When the thoughts started coming, I was like, I need to start jotting this stuff down, because I would wait around, be like, man, I had a really good thought earlier. What was it? And so I got some notes, some index cards. And so I would write the stuff on index cards. But the problem with that was there'd be times an idea or a thought will come to me while I'm walking the dog, or it's 3:00 in the morning. I don't feel like reaching to find note cards and pens. And then it dawned on me. I was like, you know what? I have a smartphone that actually has a section called notes. And so I started, after several months of all these index cards and post-it notes all over the place, I literally would just dictate into the notes section of the phone whatever idea that came up. I could be walking the dog, I could be in the car, and just dictate the note. I dictated notes in my cell phone for probably 8 or 9 months. And when I finally felt that, you know what, I think I have enough material, I went to my phone and I emailed all those notes to myself. Next step, I printed them all out. Now this took a minute. I'm making it sound like it went fast. I'm printing them all out.
No,
I got some scissors, and I literally, because it was random thoughts, like here's 4 sentences, here's 4 sentences, and I cut all them out, and I had just huge amounts of paper everywhere. And literally, I just put them in the sections that they were aligned with. And I was like, okay, this is about relationships. This would go in the relationship chapter. This is about depression. This would go in that chapter. And that's how I separated all the strips. Then I got a giant binder. It's not near me right now. A giant binder. And put all this paper. And I literally got some scotch tape, put all this paper in the notebook, and I scotch taped all my different cutout notes. And like I put them in chapters. And then it was time to sit down and do the book. I literally, the first chapter, here are my notes, and I just started composing it. And that's how I did it. Now, I'm sure everybody doesn't do it that way. And that might even be a long, convoluted, complex way of doing it. But that's the way that worked for me.
It worked for you. And here's my problem. I walk my dog 2 in the morning.
Okay.
And usually it's super early in the morning, right? So nobody's there, so I'm free.
Right.
And I'm just walking, and I'll be talking, and I'm like, man, that was a pretty good thought. But what happens is, if I consciously, and I just need to do it purposefully, but if I think, hey, let me pull my phone out and start talking, it's blank. It's like it's being forced or something.
In my mind, you can't say, let me now talk about this. Whatever thought that came into your mind, that's what I would put down into the phone.
So say, and let me give you an example. And this is like a therapy session. So
No
I'll tell you, we just gonna be on here talking. Like, I'll go out, and I have a presentation that I have to do that day. So I'll say, and this is how I used to draw, because I used to draw. I still draw a little bit, but I used to draw. I just, do some lines, and then eventually it'll turn into something. I'm more of a creative than a purposeful type when it comes to the creativity. Writing, I do the same thing. I'll just start at any point, and then I'll create around it. So talking, I guess I'm the exact same way. It would make sense. And I would just start anywhere. Like, not necessarily, hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming in. Thank you, President. Thank you, blah, blah, blah. I don't start like that. I'll start at a point of discussion. And then that point, I'll just go and I'll flow. And it's almost like it's involuntary when it happens. But I can't recreate it.
Not when you're doing the flow. No, that's tough to create flow. Recreate flow.
You feel me?
Yeah. I get that.
So, but in that flow, I get a lot of good. I even wrote songs too. So in that flow, you hear a rhythm, all these. So the main point of this is that, like, when you go out there and you're trying to be creative people who are watching this right now, it is not always easy as people make it look. Right? You got to find what works for you.
That's the bottom line,
Francis
right?
found what work for him. Yep. I'm still searching for what works for
you have to but you have your own organic way of doing it. Yours has more of a flow to it. That's just you.
I need to figure out how to capture that flow and bottle it up.
Are you familiar with the speaker and author Wayne Dyer?
No.
So Wayne Dyer, he's no longer with us, but he was somebody I would consider. I didn't have a mentor growing up or anything, but I would say he was one of those people who was like an invisible mentor to me. So I read a lot of his books. listen to audio tapes. He used
Mm-hmm.
to be on do PBS specials. So he was more like a not really a motivational type person like a Tony Robbins, who I also, like to, but he had a spiritual component. And
Mm.
whenever he used to speak, like someone he would prepare
Yeah.
what they're going to speak, he would just have a topic, or let's say he's promoting a specific book. He's got tons of books, and
Yeah.
he literally said he never really prepared what he's going to speak. He would just let the universe, God, nature just guide him, and he would have these amazing talks. Like it was I was like, everybody can't do that, but apparently he
I you-
could.
I can only do it when I'm by myself because I allow myself to fuddle through. You can hear me. I do it in this interview right here. I mumble through some words or whatever, and then you get it together, right? But when I'm in front of people, thank you, Army, for getting me through the anxiety of getting in front of people. But when I get in front of people, you have all of this information in your head that you want to convey to them because you feel that it's important,
Exactly. Yes.
and it gets jumbled up
It
in
gets a little
thought.
muddled. Yes.
You know, yeah. So I'll work on it. I'm gonna look him up. You said Wayne
Wayne, oh my
Dyer?
goodness, I love Wayne Dyer.
Yeah.
I mean, I could put, I have Wayne Dyer books right here to my right hand. I've, um, so like I said, he's no longer with us, but he's such a inspirational and spiritual person. I've read so many of his books.
Yeah.
Got to share this amazing Wayne Dyer story. So one day
Mm-hmm.
I got exposed to him when I was in my 20s, and I
Okay.
told other friends about him. I even gave away some of his books, and people were like, "Oh my God, this guy is awesome." So one day he's coming to Chicago to speak,
Oh
and at
wow.
the time I was like, "Oh my God, I would love to hear him speak in person," but I didn't have much money. I was like, "I don't have any money for a ticket." And I was
Yeah.
joking with one of my friends over the phone. Her name was Tracy. And I go, "Tracy, you know what? I'm just going to call up Wayne Dyer and see if he can give me a discounted ticket." And she laughed. And I said, she laughed because and like I said, she
Yeah.
had got exposed to him, so she liked him too. And so we
Yeah.
hung up the phone,
Uh-huh.
and I said, "I'm going to try to call him up." So
Yeah.
I looked at where he was speaking. He was speaking at a hotel in downtown Chicago on the north end. And I was like, well, maybe if he's speaking there, he has a room there.
Mm.
Nothing to lose. So I call the hotel and I go, "Hi, could I have Wayne Dyer's room?"
Yeah.
And I get, "Hold on, please." I was like, oh my. I was like,
All you need to know is the
I was
name.
like, clearly there must be somebody else in this hotel named Wayne Dyer. They're not going to ring the Wayne Dyer's room. And it's ringing and
Yeah.
it's ringing and it's ringing. And no, I said, well, you know what? Even if it was his, he probably wouldn't be there anyway. And then somebody goes, "Hello?" I knew his voice instantly. And I was like,
Mm.
Wayne Dyer? He said, "Yes. How can I help you?" And I said, "Well, I'm a really big fan. I really appreciate your work, your writings, your authorship, and I really wanted to come see you tonight, but I don't have enough money. Is there any way I can get a discounted ticket?" He said,
Yeah.
"I tell you what, come on down, and at the front, right outside the room, there's going to be a table, and it'll be my assistant. Tell her
Mm-hmm.
you're one of so and so, so and so." And I go, "Okay."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "I hope to see you." And I was like, "Oh my God." And so I called my friend Tracy back. I was like, "I just talked to Wayne Dyer. He just told me to come on down. I think he's going to give me a discounted ticket." She's like, "You got to be kidding me. Call him back. Tell him you need two." I was like, "I can't do that." So long story short, I go downtown. I go to the
Yeah.
table. I'm expecting a discounted ticket. Like, how much am I going to have to pay? She says, she just hands me a ticket. "Enjoy yourself.
Mm.
No money
Mm.
required. A wonderful seat for free."
Mm.
And afterwards, he was doing a meet and greet, and I went up to him. I was like, "I have to thank him for giving me the ticket." And he was like, "I'm so glad you're able to
Yeah.
make it." And it was just, that
Wow.
was just, I will never forget that, because one, it was somebody I admired, but then how it worked out and how the universe
Yeah.
transpired, and how you just never know until you try.
Mm.
I thought that wasn't even a realistic thing to even suggest. And lo and behold, I'm in this wonderful air. I got this great seat to hear this man
Mm.
who I just get so much from.
Wow. That, if nothing else, people, just remember, ask. Ask. take a shot. I mean, because honestly, you already have the no. The no was in the
Yeah,
bag.
exactly.
You took a chance and you figured, well, why not? I did the same thing. I mean, not as good as that, but I tell you, I did photography. I didn't tell you I did. You do photography.
I took the cover of the book. I took that picture. Yes, I
Yeah.
used to compete in photography competitions when I was in high school, and yeah,
Yeah.
I love photography.
So I was in the military, and President Obama was coming to Camp Pendleton here in California, and I reached out and I talked to the PAO because I'll tell you I was in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
PAO is the public affairs officer. They're the Marines, and I said, hey, I'd like to get access, to
The president.
see President
Mm-hmm.
Obama. And he was like, okay. I was like, what? He was like,
Not what you were
he was like,
expecting.
okay. Now, given we've already built up a relationship,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, me and this PAO. So he said, just show up, similar to you, just show up to the event and look for Lieutenant such and such. He'll give you a press pass. And I was like, what? So I go to the event. I don't see him. I'm looking around. But I'm the only guy there with an Army uniform on, right? So the lieutenant, he found me. He was like, hey, Sergeant Jones? I was like, yeah. He's like, here you go. Come on in. And I was like, are you kidding me? All because I asked. Man, you're going to get some no's, but you already got no's.
I didn't gain a lot of wisdom from my mom
Mm.
because it's just who she was, and she education. She didn't really get an education. Like my mother, she didn't get past the 7th grade. So it was a lot of stuff she didn't know, wasn't exposed to. But one of the bits of wisdom I know she used to share, she used to always say, you never know till you ask. She used to say that all the time.
Yeah.
And it's true. You don't know until like you said, the no is already there. It's already in the bag. But by asking, you never know what else may be possible.
Yeah, because you was looking for a discount.
I didn't ask for a free ticket. That felt weird to ask. Can I have a free ticket? So I was just like trying to get a slightly discounted ticket. I think I had $20 to my name at that moment. At that time, I had $20, and I think tickets started at like 50. So I was like, if he can give me a ticket for 20, we're in. I'll give him my last 20. I'll have no problem with that.
Because your goal is just to get into the event, to hear.
Yep.
Your guy.
That's it.
Dyer.
Wayne Dyer. Yep. I just wanted to hear him.
But in asking, you gotta get a free ticket.
Great seat.
Wonderful seats.
And get to talk to him later.
Meet and greet.
Exactly.
All of these things.
And here's what's funny. I don't know this factually, but how many other people called him his hotel room to ask for a ticket? Probably no one else.
Yeah, because they didn't believe it was possible. But, in that aspect, that definitely left the door wide open because that probably made him feel amazing as well. These people are paying, but he's like, this guy here really, truly needs to be at this event.
Yep.
He really wants to be there.
So,
and I'm not going to deprive that.
That's exactly.
Anyway, great lessons. Hey, last thing. I've asked you a few questions. We've gone a little bit over, but is there anything that we haven't talked about that you want to discuss?
There's so many things that, of course, we could talk about. I just appreciate the opportunity to talk about a variety of things. I often feel like what needs to be said will be said. I'm really big on things happening naturally and organically. So if someone feels so inclined, I'd love them to pick up the book and see what else. Maybe it will help them in some way. Maybe it will inspire them to seek treatment, or maybe it will inspire them to do something else to get help. Because I don't think getting therapy is the only way to heal and grow. I don't believe that. I think there's many ways to heal and grow. And sometimes it could be books from authors. It could be a podcast. It could be something on YouTube. It could be a billboard. It could be anything. It could be a close personal friend, a family member, a mentor, a teacher. There's so many ways and routes and people that can help us to gain something that feels therapeutic. We just have to be open to it. So I'm not always, hey, I would never say everybody needs to be in therapy. I would never say that because I don't believe that's true. I don't believe only thing we all need is air and food and water. Other than that, there are no absolutes. Every college isn't for everybody. The military isn't for everybody.
Right.
And therapy isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
But it could definitely help a lot of people. So
I like it. All right. So how can the listeners connect with you, pick up your book, or learn more about the work that you're doing?
If we start out, I have an Instagram where I have some little video snippets. I've been getting more into trying to find other ways to get my message out. So I do some 3, maybe 4 minutes, usually about 3-minute videos on my Instagram, which is F Francis Jones, Francis Jones, the number 4 healing. So it's F Francis Jones for healing, number 4 healing. That's my Instagram. And I also have a website which talks more about the book, myself, and where the merchandise is, the coffee mugs, the hoodies, t-shirts. Yeah. And that's my website, which is ffrancisjones.com. Francis Jones, Jones.com. That's the website, ffrancisjones.com.
Yeah, man. I love it. Hey, I really enjoyed this conversation.
As have I.
I just want to say that.
As have I.
From old school hip hop and R&B to breaking down emotional barriers to growing through life's most painful chapters, F. Francis Jones, aka Frankie J, reminded us that healing isn't linear, but it is possible.
Definitely.
And I just want to thank Francis for sharing your story, your insights, and your heart. And for the listeners out there, this is from the heart as well. If today's episode spoke to you, sounds like I'm in church though.
Amen.
If it
Preach.
spoke to you, subscribe and join us next time on Hindsight the Podcast, where we explore the journeys that shape who we become. And until then, remember, your past doesn't define you, but how you grow from it just might. I'll talk to you soon. Hey, thanks for joining me here on Hindsight the Podcast. I'm your host, Lee Jones. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know I did. And while I have you here, why don't you take your mouse, go over and click on that subscribe button. No, not right there. Over to the right. No, down, right there. Boom. Thank you. Now, thank you for subscribing to Hindsight the Podcast. I'm your host, Lee Jones.